Most people believe that getting rich is about finding the right opportunity. They believe that if the right moment appears, if the timing finally aligns, their financial life will change overnight. But opportunity is not what separates the wealthy from everyone else. Opportunity appears many times in most people's lives. Sometimes it appears quietly. Sometimes it appears disguised as boredom. Sometimes it appears as something ordinary that does not feel special at the time. What separates outcomes is not opportunity, it is behavior. Most people never get rich because their lives are built around reaction. They react to pressure instead of planning. They react to emotions instead of structure. They react to what feels urgent instead of what is important. They do not deliberately design their financial lives. They drift into patterns slowly, almost without noticing. And once those patterns become familiar, they begin to defend them as normal. A person can work hard for decades and still remain financially average. Not because effort has no value, but because effort without structure does not compound. Many people live busy lives. They wake up early. They stay occupied. They carry responsibilities from morning to night. They feel exhausted at the end of the day and assume that exhaustion must mean progress. But busyness is not progress. Wealth is not built by staying busy. It is built by repeating the right actions consistently, even when those actions feel boring. Most people confuse movement with advancement. They feel productive because they are active. They feel responsible because they are tired. They feel accomplished because their days are full. But exhaustion is not proof of progress. Often, it is proof of inefficiency. Wealth grows when actions are repeated correctly over long periods of time, not when energy is spent constantly without direction. One of the biggest reasons people never get rich is that they organize their lives around short-term relief. After stress, they seek comfort. After effort, they reward themselves. After frustration, they look for escape. These behaviors feel harmless. They feel deserved. They feel reasonable. They feel like small compensations for hard work. But over time, these habits weaken financial discipline. Short-term relief always steals from long-term stability. And stability is the foundation upon which wealth is built. Wealth requires sacrifices that are quiet. Sacrifices that do not feel heroic. Sacrifices that do not earn praise. Sacrifices that often go unnoticed by everyone except the person making them. Most people are unwilling to live this way. They want progress they can feel immediately. They want results that justify effort quickly. They want emotional confirmation that they are moving in the right direction. But wealth rarely provides emotional feedback in the beginning. It grows silently. It accumulates without drama. It builds in the background, unnoticed, while life continues as normal. This silence makes most people uncomfortable. When nothing happens, they assume something is wrong. When progress is slow, they assume effort is wasted. When results are delayed, they begin to doubt the process. And instead of staying disciplined, they change direction. This is where most people fail. They leave the process too early. They interrupt compounding before it has time to work. They abandon structure in search of stimulation. Wealth does not require constant action. It requires correct action repeated consistently, even when patience feels uncomfortable. Most people believe that doing something is always better than doing nothing. But in finance, unnecessary action is often the most expensive mistake. Those who build wealth understand this. They resist the urge to interfere. They allow time to do its work. They remain steady while others become restless. This difference alone separates those who struggle financially from those who quietly build something lasting. And another reason most people never get rich is that they completely misunderstand what real progress actually looks like. They believe progress must feel active. They believe it must feel intense. They believe it must constantly demand attention and effort. But real progress often feels uneventful. Most of the time, wealth is being built in periods where nothing dramatic is happening. There are no breakthroughs. There is no excitement. There are no visible signs that anything important is changing. Just repetition. Quiet repetition. The same decisions made again and again without emotion. Most people cannot tolerate this phase. They mistake boredom for failure. They assume that if nothing feels exciting, nothing is working. They believe progress should always be obvious. So they change course. They search for something new. They adjust plans. They chase different directions. They look for movement instead of stability. Every change resets progress. Wealth does not grow through constant reinvention. It grows through consistency. And consistency requires patience. Another reason people remain financially average is that they are deeply emotionally attached to money. They feel excitement when things go well. They feel anxiety when progress slows. They feel fear when outcomes are uncertain. Emotion turns money into a source of stress. Stress clouds judgment. Clouded judgment leads to rushed decisions. Rushed decisions destroy structure. Money requires emotional distance. Distance creates clarity. Clarity allows you to see reality instead of reacting to noise. Clarity protects judgment when pressure appears. Most people struggle to create this distance. They check too often. They monitor constantly. They react to every movement, every delay, every change. But control does not come from observation. It comes from discipline. Those who build wealth understand this. They do not need constant reassurance. They do not need frequent confirmation. They trust the structure they have built. They allow time to work without interference. Another reason people never get rich is impatience disguised as ambition. Ambition sounds productive. It sounds driven. It sounds respectable. But ambition without restraint becomes destructive. People rush timelines. They expect progress before foundations are built. They demand results before discipline is established. They forget that money grows at its own pace. When you rush money, it resists. When you pressure outcomes, judgment weakens. When you interfere too often, progress breaks. Time is the most powerful force in wealth building, but only for those who allow it to work uninterrupted. Most people interrupt their own progress. They evaluate too frequently. They judge results too early. They abandon plans before cycles complete. They underestimate how long real change takes. They overestimate what can be achieved quickly. Wealth grows slowly, then suddenly. Most people quit before the sudden phase arrives. Another reason people never get rich is consumption disguised as success. They reward themselves too early. They upgrade lifestyle before stability is achieved. They increase spending before control is established. This creates pressure. Pressure forces decisions. Decisions made under pressure are rarely wise. Those who build wealth protect simplicity. They delay upgrades. They control expenses. They prioritize flexibility over appearance. They understand that freedom is built before comfort. Most people trade future independence for present comfort. And once that pattern is established, it becomes difficult to reverse. Another silent reason people remain financially average is the constant search for certainty. They want guarantees. They want clarity before commitment. They want proof before patience. But wealth does not offer certainty. It rewards those who can operate without it. Those who succeed accept uncertainty as permanent. They build systems that function despite it. They do not wait for perfect conditions. They prepare under imperfect ones. Most people wait, and waiting for certainty often means waiting forever. Wealth does not belong to those who hesitate. It belongs to those who prepare quietly, remain disciplined, and stay consistent long after others give up. One of the deepest reasons most people never get rich is that they misunderstand discipline completely. They think discipline is about intensity. They think it is about pushing harder. They think it is about forcing results through effort. But real discipline is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not demand recognition. It does not create excitement. Real discipline is simply the ability to do the right thing repeatedly, even when there is no emotional reward. Most people rely on motivation. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel inspired. But motivation is unstable. It rises and falls. It disappears when conditions are uncomfortable. Wealth cannot depend on something that unreliable. Discipline does not wait for emotion. It acts regardless of how you feel. It follows structure instead of mood. This is where most people fail. They start strong. They feel excited in the beginning. They imagine outcomes instead of respecting process. And when that excitement fades, so does their consistency. Wealth is not built during moments of enthusiasm. It is built during moments of boredom. During moments where nothing seems to be happening. During moments where repetition feels meaningless. During moments where quitting feels reasonable. Most people quit here. They assume something is wrong. They assume progress has stopped. They assume effort is wasted. But this phase is exactly where wealth is created. Those who succeed understand this. They do not panic when progress feels invisible. They do not change direction when results are slow. They remain steady. Another reason most people never get rich is that they fail to control their environment. They place themselves in situations that constantly trigger bad decisions. They surround themselves with noise. They expose themselves to pressure. They consume information that creates urgency. Environment shapes behavior. If your environment constantly demands reaction, your decisions will always be reactive. Those who build wealth protect their mental space. They reduce noise. They limit distractions. They choose calm environments that support clarity. This is not avoidance. It is strategy. Wealth requires the ability to think clearly. Clarity does not exist in chaos. Another reason people remain financially average is that they underestimate the cost of small mistakes. They focus only on large losses. They ignore daily behaviors. They dismiss small leaks. But wealth is destroyed slowly through repetition of minor errors, unnecessary spending, emotional decisions, lack of consistency, frequent changes. Each one feels small, but combined, they prevent compounding. Those who build wealth understand that avoiding mistakes is more powerful than chasing gains. They focus on preservation first. They protect what they have. They remove behaviors that create risk. Growth comes later. Most people do the opposite. They chase growth without protection. They seek reward without structure. This leads to instability. Another reason people never get rich is that they confuse effort with value. They believe working harder always creates progress. They believe sacrificing more time guarantees results. But effort alone does not create wealth. Direction does. Effort without direction leads to exhaustion. Exhaustion leads to poor decisions. Poor decisions undo effort. Wealth grows when effort is applied selectively, when energy is focused, when actions are intentional. Those who succeed do not do everything. They do a few things correctly and repeat them consistently. Another silent reason people remain average is fear of standing still. Stillness makes people uncomfortable. It forces reflection. It removes distraction. So people stay busy to avoid thinking. But wealth requires thinking. It requires evaluation. It requires patience. Stillness is not stagnation. It is preparation. Those who can sit still without anxiety gain an advantage most people never develop. Another reason people never get rich is that they confuse confidence with control. They feel confident when things are going well. They feel powerful when outcomes improve. But confidence is temporary. Control is structural. Those who build wealth do not rely on confidence. They rely on systems. Systems protect progress when emotions fail. Systems maintain discipline when motivation disappears. Most people build goals. Very few build systems. Goals are fragile. Systems are durable. Another reason people never get rich is that they abandon long-term thinking for short-term comfort. They prioritize relief over results. They choose ease over endurance. They seek comfort instead of capacity. But wealth demands endurance. It demands the ability to tolerate discomfort without changing direction. It demands the ability to delay reward. Most people are unwilling to delay. They want progress now. They want confirmation now. They want security now. But wealth rewards those who can wait longer than others. Another reason people remain financially average is that they measure themselves too often. They track daily outcomes. They judge weekly progress. They overanalyze short-term fluctuations. This creates emotional instability. Wealth is not built in short intervals. It is built over long cycles. Those who succeed measure less and commit more. They focus on behavior, not immediate results. Behavior compounds. Results follow later. Another reason people never get rich is that they overestimate what they can change and underestimate what they must accept. They try to control outcomes. They resist uncertainty. They fight reality. Those who succeed accept uncertainty. They work within it. They design around it. Acceptance creates calm. Calm improves judgment. Judgment protects progress. At the deepest level, most people never get rich because they never change how they live. They want different outcomes without different behavior. But money does not respond to intention. It responds to structure. When behavior aligns with how wealth actually grows, results become predictable. Not fast, not dramatic, but inevitable.